Hey, race fan, Brian Davis races, and you can too. Today we're at the 2024 State Crit Championships for the state of Wisconsin. We are racing the 35 plus group and the 50 plus group in one lump, which is about 20 riders. Here's the course, pretty straightforward, just around a park. It's more of a circuit race for a State Crit Championship, but I'll take it. I actually really like the course. I'd be more than happy to come back here and do it again. Here's my stats, 45-minute race, and keep that in mind because you'll be able to see my power and the time on my head unit. All right, so we are just outside Milwaukee. There's 4 people on my team. I have myself, I have Dan, I have Garrett, and I have Andy Webb. Now, anytime we show up to a race, myself, Dan, and Garrett have raced together quite a bit in the last 2 years, so we kind of know our game plan. Andy or Dan is going to get in some sort of move, and I'm going to try to clean up some sort of sprint. I mean, if I ended up in a move, that would be fine too, but that's not necessarily my specialty. So Dan is very good at it. Dan's right behind me with the big beard and the the bars on his sleeves from being a past single-speed mountain bike national champion. Way to go, Dan. And then Andy Webb is going to be somewhere in there, and Garrett, our 4th teammate, is a bit of a wild card, doesn't race very often, and showed up maybe 13 seconds before the start of the race, so we didn't really have time to chat about what his plans were. I have no idea where his fitness is, haven't ridden with him all year, so great to have him, great to see him. Just wasn't sure what to expect from that 4th teammate. No big deal. Everybody's welcome, and we're just racing masters, so happy. All right, so I'm going to get an opening couple moves here in the first lap just to open up my legs. I didn't get a great warm-up, and I really wanted to test this spot. So a little uphill, a couple chicanes, hard right turn, followed by another little looping chicane, and that's going to be the only even remotely technical part of this course. So I wanted to get through there first so I could test my tires, test my lines, and make sure I knew where I was going. So there's Garrett in black helmet, black shorts, was the 3rd rider that just went past you there, and then he's right behind our other teammate Dan, and Andy Webb is somewhere behind us. So Garrett's at the front of the group right now, puts in a little attack, a couple people go with him, great, and now the field is sufficiently knowing that something is going to happen, so we'll see what happens. So we're about to get our attack actually just coming up here, so this couple little flurry of small half-hearted moves all get pulled back, and then we're going to get a slightly spicier move here from our old friend Anderson in the white kit there. He's going to move up the road, and a couple heads-up racers are going to join him. There goes Dan Ager, a favorite prior to the race, and there goes Andy Richter in the orange kit, and then my teammate Andy is the 4th rider. So that's going to be your move up the road. There's going to be 4 riders in there. Great mix. The 2 teams that are most represented, which would be our team, Diablo Cycling, in the red and black, and the other team in the orange and black right here with the Trek on the butt. Hollander, they are represented, and and Anderson also has a teammate in this group. Anderson is a 50-plus rider, and the other 3 in that move are 35-plus riders. So I wish I would have paid more attention to that on the day of the race, but I did not. So that's going to cost me a little tactics here. I'll explain. And I didn't think of it till like a week later that I took an opportunity away from my teammate Dan. So there's my teammate Dan following the ABD rider. Now real quick on the ABD rider, he does not have any teammates that I'm aware of. So if you're going to pull a move like this, I would highly suggest getting separation instead of just pulling the field back to this move. There's really no, I mean, I guess he kind of sees it there and it's like, why am I doing this? But in retrospect, I think he should have attacked from 5 or 6 riders back, gotten separation, and really buried his head to get that group before they got too far away, especially being with no teammates. It's kind of your only option if you still want to win the race. No knock on him. That's just how it unfolded, and a little tip for everybody else watching. So we're going to take a little break here and listen to some music and watch the race unfold, and then I'll walk you through a few more bits and pieces. right, you can see a couple moves there that we got shut down and made them, you know, whatever. What's the word I'm looking for? Discourage the attacks, right? So I'm going to put a few more here in fast motion. So you can see Bryant comes up here, looks around. The ABD rider again. He put in a ton of work, right? Like if he just would have gotten a separation, he certainly had the watts to get where he needed to be. Yep. And then another move here. This is, who is this? That's my teammate up there, right? So I come over the top just to slow down the rest of the teammate. That might be, oh, who is it? Maybe it's not my teammate. I forget who that is. Who is that? I think that's my teammate. So is that my teammate? Anyway, hopefully I want it to not be, because I feel like I maybe put a little effort in there. Here's an idiot on an e-bike. So if you are an idiot on an e-bike, let's get a better look at him. Hi, I'm an idiot. Yes, I'm a complete moron. If you know that moron, be sure to tell him he's an idiot. All right, now we're back to racing. So we just shut down move after move after move. Nothing too dangerous here just yet, but we will get a few dangerous moves coming up. So I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at right now. I know the team of 4 is probably up there. I mean, they're way out of sight. Haven't heard anything about them. Haven't heard any splits from start finish when we go by there. So there's Dan and I just controlling the front end. Dan's gonna take some efforts and try to dissuade attacks. I'm gonna do the same thing, and pretty soon here Garrett's gonna go on a move, which is great. And I told him, I faded to the back, found him, and I'm like, hey, if you want to go for a move and try to bridge up there, you're welcome to do so, and certainly we'll let him go. And if we can increase our odds in that front group, that's great. Now if people started chasing him, that would not be great, but hopefully you know, I didn't know how fresh he was, so if he had the legs to make this bridge, that would have been awesome. Now here's a big move up here. Oh, that's Garrett. Garrett put in a solid dig to get up the road. Got tons of separation, and this is what I would say is this is the way that you're going to get it done, right? He maybe did all of this a little too late, and that 4-man group had way too big of a advantage. So we're halfway through the race, actually just past halfway through the race. We ended up racing 45 minutes, and we're 25 minutes in. So you can see we're going to shut more stuff down, and then yours truly is going to give it a go here. So we're going to pull Garrett back, and after doing that, I'm like, well, maybe it's time for me to go. And if nothing else, it softens up the field. Maybe Dan could go, I could go. There's really no huge danger in us as long as we're solo and not bringing the field up to the 4-man break. We're happy campers, and they would be happy campers too. Well, Andy would be a happy camper. The rest of them maybe not. So look what happens here. Hey. Feeling myself. Feeling it. I'm gonna try, guys. I'm gonna give it a whirl. I think I can do it. Go. Good. Through the chicane. Big watts. Maybe too many watts. Foreshadowing. Maybe too many watts. We're going to be out there a little bit. Oh, we're giving her, baby. Pretty good. Dude, pretty good. Needed a whole lap out there. Lap and a half, and then oh no, 200 watts. That's not gonna do it. Good night, sweet prince. Good night. It's been fun. I regret nothing. I celebrate what was, not what could have been. All right, back to racing. So now we're 37 minutes into a 45-minute rate, and there goes Ross. Damn it, Ross. Ross is strong as can be and is a very good individual time trialer. His other teammate, I'm going to call that out, should not have done that. Should not have taken up arms to chase Ross in any way, shape, or form. I think he realizes that, turns around and says, oh, I can't bring the field, but he still pulls for a little bit here on Ross. Should not have done that. He's looking around like, I should not do this. You're right. You should not be doing that. You should not. Oh, yeah, that's right. I should not be doing this. So that's the end of that. Good. But he did pick up some slack, and then other riders certainly could have jumped across that. So now my teammate Dan is going to shut down the, I think that's Michael Froh in the 50-plus, bridging up to Ross and then giving up. And then there's my teammate Dan and the ABD rider. So that's as close as you're going to get to Ross, and Ross will hold that power, and Ross will end up hanging on for a better result than the rest of us. So now there's a four-man group up the road, and then there's Ross in no man's land. It doesn't seem like he's too far away here, but he sticks it. Kudos to Ross, like just holding your power, knowing that people are breathing down your neck, but not getting overexcited. Like I got overexcited, put out way too many watts, and then faded, right? So I think Ross is a little bit smarter than I am, obviously, and that's not going to happen. So that was a lap rider there. That was not Ross. So now we're all sort of relegated to the sprint. Cleveland Cycling here, his teammate Anderson is in the move, so he's just pulling to get a workout in. No problem with that. He doesn't have anybody to sprint for or work for, so okay. And then Dan, and I'm starting to think like, Dan's going to set me up because Dan is a giving person. I know he's going to set me up. But this is the part where I wish I would have thought a little more carefully about this. What I should have done is I should have been leading out Dan, because Dan could get second in the 50-plus, and I can only get fifth in the 35, or in the overall race, and then, fifth in the 35-plus, which doesn't really do any good. Could have got Dan on the podium of the 50-plus if I would have used my little brain, but I did not. And I think it's more because, like, we operate as me being a sprinter and these guys going in breaks, so I think we sort of defaulted back to the team and the race and less about the results for the individual races, the two races that were actually taking place. So I apologize to Dan for that. That was a mistake, and I'm sure Dan would be like, oh, don't worry about it, because he's a nice person. But in reality, that was a tactical error on my part. But either way, we're going to finish up with this error in place, and we're going to do the best we can. So Dan is doing a nice, just hard enough to be annoying pull for everybody else to tamp down any long-range solo moves to try to get into no man's land and have a better result. And I am chomping at the bit to get some sort of sprint. I feel good about what Dan is going to do here. I feel good about being able to beat the competition. I increased the size of the rear view camera just a bit so you can see a little bit more what's going back there. Now I'm thinking to myself, we're still a pretty good distance from the start finish. I'm going to give Dan a little bit of room here because I want a little bit of a sprinter's gap going into the chicane. And you know, to be honest with you, I had not made the decision that I was going to go when you're about to see when I go. I figured I would be waiting till 200 meters to go, but what ended up happening, I think, was better. A little funny moment in this move I'm about to perform. Okay, let's just watch. So, again, I'm really happy with how this race unfolded. The result is like, meh, but happy with this moment. So again, 4 riders up the road, Ross in the middle, so 5 riders up the road. Best we can do here is 6 in terms of field sprint for the overall race, but in terms of 35 plus, I'm going to end up getting 5th because, spoiler, I'm going to take this. So I'm going to give Dan a little sprinter's gap. I want a little separation between me and him, so when I do put the hammer down, I can pick up that slack and slingshot by. So here's our little hill, and here's our little series of chicanes. And I felt Dan fading on the hill. Now in reality, you know, I don't have a rear view camera in racing. I feel like people are going to start passing us left, right, and center. Dan's fading. I'm like, I gotta go. So I go, which ended up working out well. So there's only one lane through this turn. Dan's gonna block that lane. I'm gonna take the chicane hot. Dan's gonna extend his turn, do a little bit of blocking on people behind me, and we are very far from the start finish. So I think people are hesitant to go around Dan, and even thinking they could get some sort of break or wind break from Dan. And I am seated, sprinting 600, 500, 600, 500, 600, just trying to, with all my might, to hang on to this thing. And the field is coming fast. I stick my head up, turn around, I'm like, okay, I think I got it. That was maybe I didn't, but I did. So very happy with this race. Really enjoyed this course. Good racing. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Andy. Great job.